So the following podcast comes from the Embodiment conference about 2 years ago now. So it was a really great conference, by far the biggest of its kind, 1,000 speakers, about 500,000 people attending. It was at a really delicate time with COVID and various other things happening in the world. And we just think it was a huge gift to the world. The whole team worked incredibly hard to put the conference on. We've decided that it's really good to share some of the sessions from the conference to everyone. So we put a few of them out on a podcast. So here's one of those. So if you hear references, it sound like that bit, that's where it's from. And we think the content still really stands up. So enjoy this session.
These are some of my absolute favorite humans from the embodiment world. A real spread. Yakov Darling Khan from movement medicine. Amara, who's from Azul and does dance tribes across the world. Roma's going to be jumping in and co-hosting with me. You might know her as a karate teacher from the martial arts channel. Tara Judell, the only yoga teacher in the world I like, the founder of Embodied Flow. Paul Linden, my mentor, trauma healer, teller of bad jokes and awful puns. You have been warned. Portland, offended in Portland, be careful of this session. Jessica Graham, mindful sex guru, awesome human. Manal, you'll probably know from the leadership team, a dance teacher in her own right. Jamie Cato, creativity mastermind, ex-rock star. Martha Eddy, one of the top somatics teachers in North America. Absolute legends in their own right. Everyone say hello all at once.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. So we were looking for an excuse and a topic, and we couldn't think of one, and we were tired. So I just said, I don't bloody know. How about love? Love's a good thing. Let's talk a bit about love, maybe give a few little exercises. This is going to be quite fast. We're going to keep it moving. There's going to be 1 minute per person. Roma, can you do timings? Do you have a phone there?
Yes, I have.
Great. Shout at them in Dutch if they don't stop after 1 minute. That's with the sort of throat kind of thing going on. Okay, so we're going to ask some questions. We'll do rounds. We'll do the rounds in the order that I introduced you in, just because that's what you're on the screen. It's not like who's best looking or anything. It's just, where you are on the computer. So where to begin? I haven't actually thought about this. Love. How do we embody love? Let's go straight in at the deep end. How do we embody love? 1 minute. Yakov.
Wow, it's all about feeling the imagination in your body, letting your imagination open up as far as it goes, but bringing it right down into your toes, really right down into the roots. So it's because otherwise love becomes like a series of shoulds on top of reality. And so we got to bring them together, got to bring that imagination into the body. And then there's some kind of reality, some kind of ground that we can actually meet on and discover, what is this love thing?
Beautiful.
Under a minute. 20 seconds to go.
I recommend between each person, everyone take a breath. There's a way panels can get kind of accelerated, particularly when ADHD boy on coffee is facilitating. So Amara, you're up next. How do we embody love?
Well, we embody love by entering into the body. I had this really crazy thought, and I want to put it out there in this moment to us, that what animates the body, okay? Like, think about it. What animates this body? All right, we can understand that maybe as spirit or as the intelligence that governs all of life. Okay, and what if that intelligence is love? And therefore, what if what animates the body is love? And if that's the case, then we're much closer to love than we may think.
Wow.
So what if we just enter the body, the process of inhabiting our skin, our cells, and our feeling through the body?
And you may stop.
Thank you. 1 breath. Tara Judell.
I imagine I was looking forward to this tapestry of information that will come from the mosaic of this gathering. And I think part of contemplating that is that each of the words that Gamara is saying and Yakov is saying, and I know the
Louder,
rest of you
please,
will
Tara.
say- Sorry, and the rest of you will say, is born out of that energy Amara is talking about, that sense of a presence, awareness that has direction, attraction, that has a polarity and some kind of magnetism. So what I'll just add on the telephone game.
Thank you, Tara. You're a little quiet, so if you do have a headset there, grab one if you can get one. Okay, one breath. Paul Linden.
I have to confess, I haven't a clue what you guys are talking about. I have never seen a higher energy or anything of that sort. I know what, I'm still working on what love is. I know what love isn't. Being absent from your body, treating other people as though they were not worthwhile. That isn't love. I think love is something different from that. But when somebody says to me, what if this were intelligence coming in, animating the body? Animate means to make alive. So you haven't said anything that I can understand. You're saying that something is making the body alive, and it's making the body alive. So I would prefer to say what love isn't. At least I can get a handle on that. You might be very right. I just don't understand it yet.
30 seconds to go, Paul.
Say something quick and interesting. Love. Yes.
Done.
There's a good.
It can be under a minute. Can be under a minute. People are done. Okay, try not to swoon too much. Jessica Graham.
No. You might start by just letting your jaw soften. You might start by letting your solar plexus and the pelvic area soften. And you might let go of trying to get it right. Trying to embody love, to me sounds like a lot of effort. You might take a breath. And maybe you just get a taste, you just get a glimpse, you just get a memory of what you are. And there you go.
Thank you. I was going to suggest we do exercises next, but you're ahead of the game. So, Manal, what is love?
I've been trying to find something intelligent to say about this, and then I took a few breaths, and to me, it's that silence and space within the inhale and exhale, that that stillness and calmness, that it's all good, it's all great, it's spacious, it's all around. That's what is coming to me now with love, space.
Thank you, Manal. Jamie Cato.
Hey, folks. Oh, I don't have a very embodied thing to share, but for me, like with a person or embodying love in a project like an album or a film, it feels to me like giving myself fully to it. It's an act of devotion. It's an act of yin, of being able to be fully taken, not get something. So when I'm fully devotional in love to a project or a piece of art or with a person, then by fully not trying to make it help my self-esteem or get me money or get me something, by fully focusing on allowing that yin generosity to soften, strangely, another pipe opens that's invisible and starts pouring into me, but you can't kind of do it on purpose. So that's a little bit of a convoluted way to say it, but for me, it's about really like softening into.
Your time is up.
There we go. Love is yin and love is yang. It's boundaries too. Thank you, Jamie. You're a little bit quiet as well for the next time. Yeah. Martha Eddy.
Did I hear my name?
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. How's the sound?
Good.
Okay. So for me, I think of what is embodiment first. And I think everything is light, photons, whether waves or particles. And that then we are incarnate light. We're on our planet and we're feeling our bodies. And unless we feel our bodies, we're not really living. And then I say, one of the things we do here is survive. And that is done through creation, through procreation, through sex. And then we must be embodying that. And to stay alive, we also have this vehicle of the heart. And so we need to stay in touch with our love, with our agape, as well as our eros. And so we need to embody our hearts and move from our hearts. And then we connect to the highest chakra levels of our head and we become light again. So for me, it's a story of light, finding our light and sharing it.
Thank you, Roma. Thank you, Martha. Okay, let's take a breath together, maybe. Breathing in and breathing out the love, whatever that means to you. Next question. Third one will be a practice. If you've got a practice, save it, that's coming. What is usually not considered love that you consider love? So the question again is, what is normally not considered love, or sometimes not considered love, that you consider love?
1 minute again, Mark.
Yeah, let's do a minute. And Yakov, if you're willing to go first, you can always pass and we'll come back to you if you're near the beginning and you go, oh, I need to give me a minute. So
it's okay. Thank you. Just want to say thank you, first of all, everyone, for slowing me down. That was helpful. When I think about your question, I'm thinking about my beloved Susanna. We're together 34 years. And I think one of the things that we've discovered is that rage owned and taken responsibility for and communicated between one another really is a gateway to a much more present sense of love. And we have these, boxing gloves in our living room. And rather than talking about it sometimes, it's just time to look each other in the eye, know that we feel that fury, know that we're not going to hurt, but really communicate. It opens a door.
Thank you, Yakov. So just acknowledging and welcoming Kathleen. We're doing a round here, Kathleen, of 1 minute each. Amara's up next. The question is, what is love that some people think is not love or don't see as love?
I think it's important I feel like our woundings and our traumas are part of our story of love, that they're the very material that we're using in our lives to awaken love. So for me, it's important to include everything that's happening in our life story, like the daily experiences, the teachings that life is bringing to us in every breath and every moment. They're like a part of that stream of love for me. So a specific inside of that is I can remember you said boundaries, Mark, and I can remember one of the biggest acts of love I did was to say no to something that was like really hard to say no to, like putting a boundary in my family system that was so painful, and it was so important to do that. So
thank you, Roma, for that love. Thank you, Amara. Tara.
Can you hear me better now? Okay, my settings were. I have to agree. These acts of creating boundaries, what we call boundaries, and I know this is an embodiment conference, so we have a lot of similar notions, but like a healthy cell membrane that has integrity and permeability, I think that there's a way where you can create a boundary or let's say lessen the permeability. That is an act of directed love inward that may feel perhaps, or could be interpreted to the outside as something else, but it is in and of itself the act of love. Was that the bell or a chair? It was Paul's chair, but it sounded like the bell.
The goose honk of time.
And it's time.
Thank you, Tara. Next up is Paul and his squeaky chair.
Well, I go back to the body. That's my answer.
Thank you, Sensei. Jessica.
Trump.
Thank you.
I will also say, to mirror what Amara said, that the parts of us that we're trying to meditate away, that we're trying to embody away, that we're trying to therapy away, these parts of us that we think need to be updated, up-leveled, upgraded, these parts of self come from love. They come from the love of protection. These parts of us protected us at a time that we needed it. They served a very important role. Here we are. We've survived. We're thriving. So that's a lot of love. And so I greet those parts of self with huge amounts of love.
Thank you, Jessica. Manal.
It's the small things. It's the things that shows that there's an intimate connection. It's that change of a toilet paper when it's done. You know, the cup of water or coffee when it comes my way without even asking, just because the other person knows. To me is my son, who's 13, and he still likes to be tucked in and you know, good night to sleep, and first thing coming and saying good morning. It's those little things that you don't generally see in novels, and it's not talked about, and it's about that understanding and knowledge of the other and what really matters to them.
Good. And Jamie.
This is such a good panel. For me, supporting people in being messy, in procrastinating, in doing all the things culture are people come to sessions to try and get out of, but like, yeah, just being in fully support of someone not getting out of bed, and being really ordinary, not having to be special or unique or find their USB, being messy, sometimes even collapsing, hurting. Yeah, being in fully support of staying with the things that culture, you know, would like to move you out of, you know, the mess.
Thank you, Jamie. Martha Eddy.
So there's a lot going on in the chat about Trump. And I'll just add to that, which is the idea of rage, that our rage is something we often are scared of or shy away from and don't think of as love, but it is part of the power that we can turn into love. Similarly, if we can love Trump, if we can see his wounds, then maybe there's some hope for the deep pain on the planet.
Thank you. And let me welcome to the panel Kathleen Booker, a longtime friend of the Embodiment Conference. I love you, and you're so welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much. And I bow to you, Mark, and to everyone. Please excuse me for being so tardy. So I understand the question to be, what is love?
The first question was, what is love? This question is, what is love that sometimes people don't think of as love? So, for example, someone said boundaries.
Yeah, I have to ditto much of what has been said, definitely boundaries. And also, I would say for me, and this is what I'm experiencing right now, being loving and kind to myself, being self-full. Well, that's Gracie giving her amen, my cat. Being self-full is not being selfish, and it's not being loveless, it's being loveful. So being loving and kind to yourself, that really is kind and gentle. That is so loving. And kind and gentle when you're messy, as Jamie said, when you're procrastinating, when your heart is shattered and you think that the shattered pieces have shattered so much that they can't shatter more. Being kind and gentle to yourself, that's love. That's an amen.
Amen.
Okay, I'm going to invite everybody listening to do a little bit of what we call self-love pose and embodied yoga principles. So feel free to give yourself a hug if that feels good. Relax your spine, relax your breath, head to the side, eyes closed if you're comfortable to. How would you touch yourself as if you were a friend? If you can't manage love, go for friendliness. If you can't manage friendliness, at least not an enemy. A little practice. You can do it with a hand on the heart if you prefer. Self-love. Maybe it starts there. Okay, so we're going to loosen the order, and I'm going to invite anyone who wants to just jump in with a little practice. So rather than just offer talk, to offer a little practice. Also, just to involve everyone out there, the 444 participants, plus God knows how many on Facebook. If you guys want to say what you think love is, or what you think is love that people don't always think of as love, please put that in the chat. It's nice to keep, everyone's opinion here. The community is smarter than any teacher. That's how I think of it. Okay, so any teacher, jump in with a minute-long practice to increase.
I'd like to jump off of that. Is that all right?
Yep, whoever speaks gets the mic.
It's Martha. I'm saying go with that hug, but breathe into it. So your lungs are basically massaging your heart. So take a moment with that. And then this is also stimulating the lymph, squeezing our white blood cells, our immune system back to the heart. So give a squeeze that's like squeezing your love through a baby, right? Your love of a baby. Now we're going to extend out. Some of you know what kiai is. If you don't, you're going to say ha or hi or no. As you reach your arms out into space, you can step forward too. So it looks like this. Breathe in, give yourself that love, and then no.
No.
Yes, let's do that a few more times. Breathing in, you can switch legs as you step forward. No. Ha. Ha. And one more. Ha. Ha. Now, as you keep your hands out there, say my space.
My space.
My.
And fill that space with love.
That space with love.
And one more hug to end.
Okay, any teacher who would like to take the baton, just start.
I'll jump onto the space piece. So people want to know what I'm talking about with Trump. We'll see if we can get maybe just a little taste of it. So here you are, you're sitting here. You have some thoughts, visual, auditory. You have some emotional sensations in your body, maybe that get triggered when I say a word like Trump. And then there's the rest of your body. And then there's the space around your body. And then there's the space around that, your building, your town, your city, your country, your planet. And then it just keeps going from there. It just keeps going from there. It's potentially endless. It just keeps going and going. You are so teeny, 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 tiny, and you're part of the whole thing. And what if that whole thing was love? Well, then Trump is part of that too.
I'm going to jump in because I've got my little Gracie. This is her second debut here. So if you have a pet or if you have a cat or a dog, just lovingly pet, stroke your cat. If you do not, the same tender touch that you would give your cat or your dog, gently stroke your face, very gently, as if someone else also said, oh, look, mama, as if someone, if you're petting or stroking a newborn baby, and then just clear your forehead clear your forehead. And I'm going to go back to what's in the space already, hugging. As I hug my little Gracie boo-boo, there's so much warmth and just love. If you don't have an animal, just hug yourself. And allow your breath to be as it is. Don't try and force your breath to be a big inhale or a forceful exhale. Just allow your breath to be, because your breath will just flow and it will be very gentle and tender. Thank you.
I'm going to add a lovely thing while we're being so loving and tender and soft and beautiful. If it's not too heady, just to think of a part of yourself or a behavior of some of your behavior, repetitive patterns that you don't like, something you keep doing that you wish you didn't do, or a repetitive behavior or pattern, and thank it. Thank it for trying to help you, because that repetitive negative part of yourself, that little character that keeps leaping in, and it feels like sabotaging today. Once upon a time, you invented that character to look after you and help you survive in a certain way. It may not be so relevant now, but all this time, whenever it jumps in, it thinks it's helping. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to be a bodyguard or a helper. And it hasn't maybe been updated with new data, but it really thinks it's helping. So the first thing to do is to really thank it for all its intentional help that it's been trying to give you.
Thank you, Jamie.
I'm going to go right on from there, if I may. And we've been right out to the edges of the universe that embraces everything. We've had a sense of boundaries. We've had a sense of those places that feel hurt, often rejected, finding a space. We've had touch. And I just want to bring us for a moment to the core of our own creative energy and our relationship with our own sexual eros, our life force, and to just take a moment to embrace that in all of this, the boundary, the far extensions of the love of the universe, the sweet, the tender, and to know that that energy is beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's given, and it's ours to understand and work with and create with. Not just children, but to create, to make space for that right now in the body, very simply in yourself.
Thank you, Jacob.
Okay, those parts of you which have had the job of protecting you, and you sometimes do not feel good about them, let's empower them to reach out, take whatever or whomever was needing protection from, grab that by the throat and hold it with gentleness and kindness and love, and kill it if it needs to be killed. But you don't have to kill it if you love it. It's the hand that doesn't shake more easily. You see the paradox. I've often said, if you can't, I won't say that, never mind, let's let that go. I self-censored for once.
I was going to say, Paul, this is not like me or you, but I knew the joke, so brilliant. Thank you. You just saved me about 20 minutes in Portland.
Well, of course.
So I'm going to invite you, if you can, to stand up just a little bit. And if you can't, stay seated and enjoy doing this seated. But I just want us to do a little pattern of moving our body and pausing into a shape to just feel the mystery and the spaciousness and the love that's in that shape. So ready? We're just going to move our body. Gently moving and arriving into a shape. And right there, just hold that shape. Notice. Feel the body. And again, moving the body. Move your body again. Allow it to move. Allow it to explore the space around you. And slowly arriving into a pause. And then noticing the beautiful.
Sai Mamara.
She's strict, but she's fair. Boundaries are love too. You don't have to join in, but we could do one more.
Can offer one. I fear the timer though. So you can close your eyes or have your eyes softly open as you wish. We've had so much beautiful information. If you choose, you can bring your hand to your heart. Or you could simply take an elevator ride with your awareness into that beating, lemniscating, pulsing, electromagnetic force. And as you breathe, like Martha said, you can feel your lungs hug your heart. And as you exhale, you can envisage the outer space breathing you in. And that as you inhale, the outer space exhales into you.
It's time, Tara. Sorry.
Okay. So let's take a moment of silence. Often with panels, it gets very full. Really enjoying this one. This is a juicy panel. Let's just take a minute of quiet altogether. So we're going to have one more question with no timer. Please be mindful that it's a large group, though, is all I'll say. So Roma, thank you for your service there. It's not the easiest job. I was doing that on the trauma panel the other day, and sometimes people get quite hostile in the comments about it, but it's a service, so it's much appreciated. The question is, how can the conference, the Embodiment Conference, be in service to love? My wife, who I'm missing very much at the moment, she's in quarantine. She's been in Ukraine. When we got married, we said, let's not make each other the center of this marriage. Let's make love the center of this marriage. And I would like that with the conference too. The center of it to not be, certainly not me, not even the staff, not even the participants, but love. How can we make this conference a service to love? Any order, go for as long as you want. Just be mindful that it's a large group.
I think we can get people to understand that this isn't mystical shit. It's real in the body, and we don't function well unless we're loving, whatever that might be.
I just want to jump in and say that the foundation of this conference is love. The intention in which it was created overflows every single bit, every offering of this conference with love. It's palpable. It's in the conference's DNA as exhibited by their 449 people here today. It speaks, lives, breathes love. Well done, everyone.
The word is inclusivity. You know, once you've made your money back, or however the structure is like, how inclusive can we be? There's been so many beautiful offerings. How inclusive, how many people can we offer this to, especially the people who aren't converts, who wouldn't normally include themselves in something like this? Just to ask that question, how inclusive can we be?
Thank you. That's what I meant, but you said it better.
I'll go with this one. And it goes back to maybe my definition of, or what I thought of in the beginning as love is the space of creating the space to mainly understand and see the other and see ourselves. I certainly had the honor and pleasure of being part of that space of conversation, of understanding. And, a lot of things coming together that I wouldn't say it wouldn't have happened without the conference, but the conference certainly facilitated those 1,000 people coming together, creating this space for others to reflect and give back.
I got so much, Mark, out of the some of the, I mean, everything I've seen. And one thing that Gabor Mate said has really stuck with me, which is to me the essential ingredient. And I think Charles Eisenstein restated that in another way, which was that it's all one body. We're one body. And until we can know that and truly live that, there's no point. And this conference really, I with the breadth, the scope, and so many different channels, amazing what it's doing to offer that, hopefully to as many people as we can.
So Mark and Daniela and the rest of the team, I feel like that's what you're doing. That's my experience, watching what's happening online, seeing all these presenters with all the profile pictures, you know, with the embodiment conference, and just seeing just in the comments, the curiosity and the openness. And, you know, I think you're doing it. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to follow on from that and really pay my respects to the massive work over years that's gone into making this offering, and that this is already the result of decades of your work, internal work, and together and understanding. And of course we are evolving and we're learning, and of course we ain't perfect. And I just want to stand alongside you guys and say, yes, of course we ain't perfect. We're working to understand. We're working to make space to connect. How? And I really want to just bow to the work and the effort and the beauty that is love in action that this conference is, and to encourage people. You know, my dear friend Manari in the forest, he all the time tells me, you know, when you receive something, it's you have something to offer back. And I really want to encourage people to, if you can, to offer back, to make this conference healthy and full and able to go on giving. Thanks, guys.
Very beautiful, Yakov. Mark, I loved that the word love was a part of this experience. What you just shared about you and your wife and your intention for this conference, it touched me. It made me remember that that's what love is, when I'm able to be touched, and when I'm able to touch others. That's love. And that energy is healing. And it's so important right now in our world that we find our way to that space, that we, even if it's just like, you know, like, it's like, even though the word is everywhere, you know, and sometimes it can mean nothing, but the fact that love, the word love, is in so many places, that's cool. That is a sign that some part of us is really ready to move in a different way in our world. And I think this conference is helping people in that. You know, we have so many different ways. Each of us has our own soul's journey. Each of us has our own expression, path to follow, things that turn us on, and breadcrumbs to be with. And this conference is like serving all of that. Like, think how many paths and breadcrumb paths are being seeded and experienced and served here. That's beautiful. And it's so important that we bring the body into this conversation. You know, so much of this disconnection that we suffer with, that we live with is because of that disconnect from the body. It's because of like being a little top heavy, too top heavy. And so the process of like becoming a whole system again is a part of what leads us. Thanks for pausing me for a moment, Paul. But I just feel that it's a great service what's happening here. And it's gonna ripple in many beautiful ways. And my prayer is that we all continue to move towards love and discover what that means for each of us. Okay, we can move on.
I'd like to tag on to Mara. Can I jump in? Yeah. No. Just the notion of openness. And one of the things in preparing for this, I was thinking about this light idea, and that our light shines brightest when we have all of our channels open. So I feel the same way, that love opens most with different channels. And then I was thinking loving technology also, and loving Mark's business abilities and being able to open the channels of technology. And then thinking about how the conference has so many, quote, different channels, whether it's creativity or trauma work or all these different channels. So the more we can just go into our hearts actually and see what other channels are there out there that maybe we forgot or that aren't so known in the embodiment community, that we could bring this to. So that's my wish as we continue, is that we continue to find different channels and explore them and embody them and just celebrate what we have as we do it.
I often think that it takes many slices of different pies to get a whole pie. You got to have pizza and apple pie and garlic pie. Put it all together, we've got a whole pie.
Daniela, would you come on the screen for a moment, if you wouldn't mind?
Oh, yeah.
Just want to give Daniela a little bit of public love and acknowledgement as the person runs it, and her team, her different managers, many people. So just a bit of love hiding in the background there. Teaching women's martial arts today, if you missed that one, with Roma, I think, as well. Okay, I was thinking about a song that we all know that we could sing together. And I was thinking Happy Birthday. And it's technically it's Paul's 75th birthday, but he got sung to the other day. So I'm thinking we say Happy Birthday to Embodiment. This is a kind of, you know, I feel like Embodiment gets reborn over the generations, right? You know, in shamanic times, then in the 1920s, and then in the 1960s, there's a sort of rebirth of embodiment happening in a new way. Maybe the 20s could be the embodiment decade. And it's a bit kooky. And I just thought of this. I didn't plan any of this. Obviously, I don't really plan. So if you're willing, panelists, to unmute and join me in a happy birthday to embodiment. So it's happy birthday, dear embodiment, happy birthday to you. And it will probably sound horrible because, you know, Zoom has little bit delays and things. So let's see if we can do it. So if everyone could unmute, first of all. Now, who's good at singing? Jamie, you were a singer, weren't you? You're in a band. Do you want to sort of lead it away?
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, dear embodiment. Happy birthday, dear embodiment. Birthday, dear embodiment. Happy birthday to embodiment.
Happy birthday
And then there is the other, a very merry on birthday to you, Okay.
That was bloody awful. I get it.
Not so easy on the. Okay, last in our panel before we wrap up, let's do one sentence together. So it's that game where you each say a word, and we're going to go in the order that we started in. So that was Yakov. Actually, let me include Roma in this as well. So Yakov, Amara, Roma, Tara, Paul, Jessica, Manal, Jamie, Martha, Daniela, Kathleen to finish. So it's a long. And everyone, one word. And Yakov, could you start the sentence off with? I'll go second. Actually, I'll go second. So Yakov, after you.
Let's
love.
Rock. Everyone.
What was yours, Roma?
Rock. Like rock.
And roll.
Tara.
Together.
Paul.
Deeply.
Jessica.
Infinitely.
Now.
Together.
Again.
Together.
Together. Jamie.
As.
Daniela.
Everyone.
Martha.
Forever.
Kathleen to finish.
Yes.
Okay, people, this has been a wonderful panel. If you want to check out Yakov, Darling Khan, look up Movement Medicine. Amara, look up Azul, Roma, anything for you. Links, please. Tara Judell, her work, Embodied Flow. Paul Linden, Being in Movement. Jessica Graham has an excellent book and a website. Thank you, Manal. Jamie Cato has a nice website. Kathleen Booker, The Jedi of Calm. And Martha Eddy, awesome book on the history of embodiment and her own website with other things on too. So we'll put some of those up. So practicalities. If you haven't bought the library, what are you doing? What are you doing? Be loving to yourself. You can't force feed yourself this much embodiment, okay? You can't force feed yourself this much embodiment. So take your time, treat yourself to the library. We also have a special thing. If you work with traumatized populations, so if you're a professional or full-time, volunteering a lot with traumatized populations, whether it be refugees or in the context of racism or in the context of soldiers and vets, whatever it is, email us and we'll give it to you either for free, half price, quarter price, whatever you need, basically. So if you're doing trauma work, we want that information to be available. That is for the good of the world. However, if you've got some money, give it to us, treat yourself, buy the recordings. That would be my top tip. It's a nice thank you to us, but it just means that you can spread out this epic learning because there's so much on. Talking of which, what's coming up? Daniela, Steve, what's coming up? What do we got coming up the next day or few hours? We've got Angel Williams this evening, right? Sally Kempton coming up.
Oh, yeah. So we have Michelle Boulay on the keynote stage at 8 o'clock. We do have Angel Kyoto Williams tonight, midnight UK time. We have tomorrow Ken Wilber at some point. We have Rick Hansen coming up in the next days. We have A.H. Almas on the keynote stage. What else has happened, Steve?
The Chakra Unicorn Rainbow Phallus meditation, Steve and I tomorrow, I believe. So don't come to that if you get offended.
That will be screening as the final session on the channel. So on Sunday, we're just pre-recording it to take out all the stuff that's too offensive. With
special guest Fabiola, our unicorn.
Got it. And if you haven't seen the trauma panel, that was really exceptional. The trauma panel that I was asked to facilitate at 15 minutes notice, that was really well done. And the other sessions that Alanis did with Gabor Mate and some of the others, Richard Schwartz, were really quite exceptional. So do look up the Gabor Mate session as well, where I accidentally bared my childhood trauma to thousands of people. That was very, very good at the beginning. Any other top ones that we've sort of been in the past that people should look up in the recordings?
Charles Eisenstein.
That was very good.
Amazing. Gabor Mate was a total highlight, but you mentioned that already. The two panels. What else, Steve?
Worst yoga class in the world. That apparently was epic last night. And JP Sears showed up as well, so they were joking together. But it's ridiculous already. Okay, as ever, we'll be doing breakout rooms afterwards. If you want to go to the coffee break, the dots on the top right, if you want to chat to other human beings and process some of this. The Facebook group remains relatively civilized and pleasant should you want to sort of chat and talk about the different themes in there. I think we're done. So, you know, Daniela, just so you're in the book, do you want the final word from this session?
Me?
Yeah.
Let me center. It's hard to put in words because it's really beyond words. I think love is being yourself and allowing yourself to be.
Daniela, Dankeschön. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Another epic panel. Thank you, everyone. Good work.